back to where I was. Gets me back to where I was. And oh, gets me back to where I was.
Got no ceiling but the sky, like the world, baby, just rolling by. I don't live anywhere, I live everywhere. This road is my home. Those 9 to 5s, pretty yards, that was never, baby, in the cards. Don't live anywhere, live everywhere. This road is my home. The climbers and glamours of the city, I don't need them. As long as I live, let me hold on to my freedom. It's crossed my mind now and then. A little too late, babe. Go back and start again. Don't live anywhere, I live everywhere. This road is my home. Glamours and glamours of the city, I don't need them. As long as I live, let me hold on to my freedom. It's crossed my mind now and then. A little too late, babe. Go back and start again. Don't live anywhere, live everywhere. This road is my home. This road is my home.
No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God
welcome to all of you who decided to go with the flow and come in person. And hello to you who are online and decided it should be a safe decision to stay home. And we totally get that. As Reverend Tracy did this morning, we had a discussion and decided she's down in, South LA County, Whittier area, and we decided that it was just a little risky for her to make the trip up and back. So I'm filling in for her, and we'll just play it by ear. So welcome to Claremont Center for Spiritual Living, which is part of the Global Centers for Spiritual Living, where our vision is a world that works for everyone. And playing today in many roles is Reverend Drack. Drack will be giving us our opening prayer and reading as practitioner, and then later he's going to then step down to the piano and give us some music too. So as we all know, that's a super treat when Drack plays for us. So I'm really excited about that. So let's get started. Oh, and for anybody who doesn't know, I'm Reverend Mary. All right, let's just sit back, relax, close your eyes if you're comfortable. Allow yourself to go within. Let go of the morning. Let go of this afternoon just for now. And come to this moment.
Breathe in deeply the truth of who we are. Center ourselves now in this moment, knowing that we are rightly and perfectly placed where we are, that all is exactly as it should be. We recognize how we are all connected in the flow of every moment, of every time. We recognize how when we drop into our bodies and release all of the thoughts in our minds, that we are able to allow the flow of energy and time to move through us, connecting us in our understanding of reality from a very high place that goes beyond the concerns of everyday living of our humanness, although our humanness is, of course, sacred in its own right. We recognize that we are meant to be, that we are sacredly appointed, and that there are no accidents in life. No matter what the storms, the weather, the moment, everything is as it should be. We know all is well, and so it is. So, I got the book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I hope I'm saying his name right. I always wonder, is it Tolle or Toll? He talks about when you have negativity in you, things that you can do to help yourself to be present in the moment and to let it go. Because I know from my own personal experience that I often get in the way. I've got a very active mind. It likes to think a lot and worry, or to get frustrated. So I think his words are just very wise. They're clean and simple and wise. So this is what he says. Whenever you feel negativity arising within you, whether caused by an external factor, a thought, or even nothing in particular that you are aware of, look on it as a voice saying, "Attention, here and now, wake up." Even the slightest irritation is significant and needs to be acknowledged and looked at. Otherwise, there will be a cumulative buildup of unobserved reactions. As I said before, you may be able to just drop it once you realize that you don't want to have this energy field inside you and that it serves no purpose. But then make sure that you drop it completely. If you cannot drop it, just accept that it is there and take your attention into the feeling, as I pointed out earlier. As an alternative to dropping a negative reaction, you can make it disappear by imagining yourself becoming transparent to the external cause of the reaction. I recommend that you practice it with little, even trivial things first. Let's say that you are sitting quietly at home. Suddenly, there is the penetrating sound of a car alarm from across the street. Irritation arises. That never happens with me. What is the purpose of the irritation? None whatsoever. Why did you create it? You didn't. The mind did. It was totally automatic, totally unconscious. Why did the mind create it? Because it holds the unconscious belief that its resistance, which you experience as negativity or unhappiness in some form, will somehow dissolve the undesirable condition. This, of course, is a delusion. The resistance that it creates, the irritation or anger in this case, is far more disturbing than the original cause that it is attempting to dissolve. That's what blows my mind, I must say. All this can be transformed into spiritual practice. Feel yourself becoming transparent, as it were, without the solidity of a material body. Now allow the noise or whatever causes a negative reaction to pass right through you. It is no longer hitting a solid wall inside of you. As I said, practice with little things first. The car alarm, the dog barking, the kids screaming, the traffic jam. Instead of having a wall of resistance inside of you that gets constantly and painfully hit by things that should not be happening, let everything pass through you. Somebody says something to you that is rude or designed to hurt. Instead of going into unconscious reaction and negativity, such as attack, defense, or withdrawal, you let it pass right through you. Offer no resistance. It is as if there is nobody there to get hurt anymore. That is forgiveness. In this way, you become invulnerable. You can still tell that person that his or her behavior is unacceptable if that is what you choose to do. But that person no longer has the power to control your inner state. You are then in your power, not in someone else's. Nor are you run by your mind. Whether it is a car alarm, a rude person, a flood, an earthquake, or the loss of all your possessions, the resistance mechanism is the same. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to play a piece right now that I've written. And I would invite you while I play this to simply sit and kind of play with the ideas that Eckhart talked about. As the music moves, just feel that and imagine yourself with things going through you. Even the music as you enjoy it, what it would feel like if that just kind of went with you, moved through you, moved in the motion of everything.
Thank you, Drac. That was beautiful. So we'll light our candle today. We've been talking a month about being cool, right? About being cool with storms. You know, resting in that calm of the eye of the storm. So, baby, it's wet outside. It really is. And it's stormy. And storms come in our lives from time to time. And most often, there's not much we can do about it being stormy. The only thing we can do is make a choice on how we want to live with that storm. Do we want to stay inside and be cozy and pull the blanket up and stay nice and cozy? Or do we want to get out there and go for it? Either way, the decision is good. Sometimes in these stormy weathers, we spend more time creating a storm in our head about did I make the right decision than just going with whatever choice or decision that is. So I invite all of you this morning, those online and those here, to just give yourself a pat on the back for the choice you made, whatever that choice was, because it's the one for you, and it was the best one for you. And there's all kinds of different situations and different conditions that we all go with. In the book study that we've been doing lately in the 4 pivots, this last week was about vulnerability. And we, had to accept that some people vulnerability is a balance of risk and being vulnerable. It's risk and safety that we're balancing. And some people have different vulnerabilities that we don't even know about. Some are apparent based on the color of our skin or our gender or our sexual orientation. And some vulnerabilities you can't see. They're in somebody's story. So we have to move away from any kind of judgment for ourselves and others about whatever their choices are about how vulnerable they want to be in this moment, knowing that it can always change too. So the decision for me to be here was made like early this morning. So we're just kind of go with the flow. And I have some notes from an older talk, and we'll use some of that, but maybe drift away from it here and there too, and just see where Spirit takes us this morning. So Emerson says that there is a principle which is the basis of things, which all speech aims to say, and all action to evolve. And that is a simple, quiet, undescribable presence that dwells very peacefully in us. We are not to do, but to let do, not to work, but to be worked upon. In Science of Mind, we describe this presence as a lot of terms: God, Spirit, the divine. And we know that that presence that's outside of us is the same presence that's within us. We know that as we move throughout our day and our lives, that we strive to walk in that presence, in that flow. It's Eric Butterworth in The Flow of Life describes this presence as a flow. And that really makes a lot of sense to me, because I see that grace, that divine energy flowing in me and out of me and all around me. And as I move, it moves with me. And I think it was Home that says, Get it in your mind. You swim in a sea of substance, just like the fish swims in a sea of water. And does the fish say, I'm thirsty? When we can get in that idea that we are always in the presence, and that presence is with us, and no matter where we go, whatever storm is happening, we are in that bubble of grace and light. Wherever we go, whatever happens. And so, we can't earn this grace. We can't see it around us. It's just there. And often when something good happens in our life, my husband will say, "You deserve that." And I don't. It's not about deserving. Do I deserve anything, or do I deserve it all? It's a matter of, it's God's will to give me good. And whether I deserve it or not, but all I have to do is accept it and live in that grace. Now, I can deny it. I kind of think of it, to me, the image that I get when I think of this presence and the flow of that grace. I think of water flowing in a stream, and there's rocks, right, in this stream. And we are the rocks, because grace keeps on flowing, and sometimes we're the rock, and sometimes this water flows and it splashes off the rock. But even when it's splashing off the rock, that entire rock in that stream is wet, because the water is coming from underneath. The water is coming around every side. The water flows, the grace flows around that entire rock. So we can be stubborn, we can stay there, and we can splash as much as we want off of us. Nevertheless, we are wet with grace all the time. And it reminds me of, the music, the difference between, dancing to the rhythm, and we can all get out there and dance to the rhythm. But if you've ever watched a modern dance person, doing a dance, or a ballerina, it's not just the beat that she dances to. She flows to every little note, every piece of energy. The notes coming together affect what she does, or he. And that's how I see us moving when we really get it. And as I went through my studies and through practitioner or whatever, it's easy to hit principle on the beat. Yeah, I got it. Now I don't. Now I got it. Now I don't. Now I got it. Now I don't. And you get into that rhythm even, because you place yourself in a life of rhythm, that you can go back and forth between being in principle, being in grace, accepting it, and not. But on our journey, it's our goal to dance as that dancer who follows every little note and every little flow. So those are my images of how it kind of goes. Let's see. Butterworth also reminds us that principle is lifting the eyes above the limitations that result from frustration or blocking the flow, and lifting them up to an awareness of the ever-presence of the transcendent flow. So when we're blocking that from feeling that inside, it doesn't mean that it's not on the outside still there. Because we can't stop God, right? God is always present in us. We begin by lifting our eyes, by just saying yes. And just, every moment that we think about it, and yes, sometimes we're still on the beat. But then we start feeling those in-between beats. Have you ever, kind of clap to the beat? You're doing the slow clap to the slower beat. And then you catch the short beats. and then you start moving a little more and flowing a little more as the dance goes on. Well, that's what we do with our spiritual life. And that's what we do with practicing that presence within us and expressing that divinity from within us. We step into it and we surrender. Again, in the water, you can try swimming upstream. And if you're a strong swimmer and persistent and get stronger and stronger, you might make some headway. But for what? Rather than getting into the flow and flowing with the water and just going with it, it's a much easier road in life. And a lot of times, if you're like me, you go, but I want to get up there. I don't want to go with the grace and God, they're taking me here, but I want to go there. I don't know if you've done that. I have. And you know what? It didn't work, It doesn't work. I remember after I retired, I was going to be this major real estate investor, and I even hired a mentor because I figured if I spent money on it, I would do it. That wasn't where God was taking me. And it just didn't work. I just couldn't make those cold calls. I just couldn't do the work. And that was my plan, but it wasn't God's plan. So if we go with the flow, it makes it a lot easier because I could have done this a year earlier or 2 years earlier instead of, finding this, or instead of spending that money on something that I wasn't meant to do. So in the Christian ethic, there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of, did I deserve it? Am I good enough? My mother used to tell me, I don't know if I've suffered enough to get into heaven. And that was so sad because, oh my gosh, she had 12 children. Did she work hard enough? And 12 children and a sick husband, that could live or could not live, from year to year, and no one really to share that with. But in the Bible itself, there's that story about the apostles. They go out into the water and the water, and they're trying to fish, and they're getting nothing, right? They're getting nothing. And so they come back in, and they're just totally frustrated. This is not working today. Might as well go home. And Jesus tells them, go back out there and throw your net on the other side of the boat. Okay, well, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. I'm sure that's what they were thinking. But they had that faith, that and maybe it was on the beat, not sure, but they had just enough to go back out and throw the net on the other side, and then they brought in all the fish. Sometimes stormy weathers in our life are like that, where we're going, this just isn't working. God's just not on my side. God's just not listening to what I want. But if we have that faith, if we go back out there and throw the net on the other side, take a different attitude, shift our focus, that's when the miracles happen. It's hard to believe a miracle is going to happen until it does, right? That's what makes it a miracle. It's because we didn't believe it at first. We had to experience it. So Lao Tzu says that one lives in the proportion to the number of points with which she or he contacts life in the world. And that's just like we were talking about. It's are we on the slow beat or the fast beat? Are we going with every note, every melody? And our lives will look accordingly to that. If we're on that slow beat, like I used to be, it's God helps out on my beat, and in between, where the heck is it? As we quicken that up and as we flow, we are feeling that presence every moment, regardless of what is happening. The resistance, if you take a moment and just close your fist as hard as you can. Right now, just take your fists and close them as hard as you can and feel that tension. Got it? Now let go. Doesn't that feel relaxed and much easier? That's the difference between our closing our fists to God helping us, to being that co-creator in our lives, versus, I'm going to do it myself. As children, you hear that. I'm going to do it myself. As adults, I've been accused of, and I know it's true, I'm going to do it myself. And yeah, it gets done. It gets done, but there's a lot of tension in getting that done, as opposed to just, okay, we'll just see how it goes, and letting go of some of the details of how it all happens. So as we learn to do that, another analogy that I have is it's sort of like in the dark. When you get up or try to cross a room in the dark, you trip over everything. Stuff that you kind of go, oh yeah, I know that was there. Why did I trip? So we trip over everything. And when we turn the light on, all of a sudden everything's in the same place, and we just move across the room quickly and nothing happens. When the light's off, children see ghosts in the closet, right? Or monsters under the bed. You turn the light on, and there's the sweater that was hanging there that they put there, and there's the toy that they put there this afternoon. And so it's the same with us. We can turn that light on, we can turn that light off. We can put it on dimmer. And just like at home, if you have a dimmer switch, the power doesn't care whether you flip it on, flip it off, use a dimmer up, use a dimmer down. Whatever you do, it will respond to. And so today, if you turn it way up to bright, it'll be bright. And if tomorrow you turn it way down, it'll be down. But it's not that the power is less the next day. It's move the switch. We have that choice every minute. And how much principle we want to live in, how much faith we want to live in, how much peace we want to live in, how much guidance we want to accept and hear. So there's a fear to faith exercise we do in a lot of classes, and today was I was thinking of passing out paper, and we weren't sure who was going to show up, so we didn't. But if you can think of a trouble in your life, right now, just think of something that you're trying to work out, a situation that you're just trying to work out. What feeling does it give you? What feeling does that give you? Just hold it in your mind. And then think about, what do I hope will happen? What do I hope? And now with that hope, and thinking about it, what is that feeling? When you can picture what you're hoping will happen, you can see the scene. You can see it all unfolding. What is that feeling? And so now open your eyes. We're doing a little abbreviated exercise. So you have one feeling with what is going on, and you have another feeling with what you hope for. We can choose to feel whatever we want, right? So if you choose to feel that feeling of what you wanted, the feeling, not necessarily the scenario, the picture, whatever, choose the feeling. That we have control over. And most often we'll find that once we choose the feeling, things unfold in such a way to support that feeling that we've chosen. In the Bible it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who are centered in the presence, for they shall be at peace and enjoy with all the life and shall prosper." So if you right now, in your mind, I release that old feeling, I accept whatever that new feeling is. Let's try it together. And you can just say the words that you're feeling quietly. I release. I accept. Because the grace of God expresses through me. And I invite you when you go home to say that about 20, 30 times. Keeping those feelings. And see where you end up. With this knowing, and knowing that the grace is always with us, we can know that every expression we have, everything we do, is that flow. Is that flow of grace, and it flows through us as us. Trying to find where I am here. As we jump around. So again, I'm going to leave you with this today, that grace is always flowing. It's here. It's here. And as we express, we're sort of like that quote that I love, is being the hole in the flute that the grace flows through. That we are constantly allowing in to circulate and out. Letting that divine grace come in, create that beautiful sound that we blow out. Or that hole in the flute that the grace flows through. That the music, our divine expression, flows through. So know that about yourself as you move peacefully throughout this week. Oh, let's go into prayer and then we'll do some music, okay? Just resting in this moment, knowing that all the power that is God, all the love that is God, all the peace that is God is in me. It's in me and it's all around me, enfolding me in that love, protecting me with that power, loving me so that I can love you, so you can love me. This is who I am. This is me walking in the world with grace and poise, because I do not walk alone, ever. And all is well. And I am so grateful for knowing this. And so it is. Let's welcome back Drac. Yes. So, and it all works out because the affirmation that Tracy prepared several days ago, before we knew, that the talk was going to be totally different, is perfect. So say it together with me, and for those, we'll just say like the first sentence, and those online can follow. I consciously stand in the power of my peace. We'll let those online. I consciously stand in the power of my peace. I move with calm confidence. Move with calm confidence. And so it is.
So this piece that I wrote is called Inspiration. I've played it before. I think everybody's heard it. But I like it because of the energy of it. Because when she was speaking, whenever Mary was speaking, and she talked about the difference of when you go from this to this, and when you're just not beat on, beat off, but you feel the flow of every note. There's a certain inspiration that I personally feel energetically from that. And I think this music has that energy. So I hope that you get to feel a little of that too.
my gosh, that was beautiful, Drac. Thank you. You could just play that all day. Thank you so much. Well, before we get into our invitations, let's do our tithing. That gift of love and gratitude. And remembering that tithing is not an obligation, it's an expression of gratitude and love and connection. So we take it to our heart and we say our affirmation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And the baskets, again, are in the back of the room. And for those of you online, there's always PayPal. This gets easier and easier, I think. So isn't that weird? This world is becoming, if you don't have PayPal or Zelle or Venmo, who are you? So it's becoming that way, or the cell phone. Or just, even a cell phone. So, okay, I'm old-fashioned. I still do a real check. So, okay, so what do we have today? Our breathing meditation won't happen today. Ingrid's not with us, but she'll be back next week. We have a treatment workshop this Saturday from 10 to noon. It's a treatment board. It's sort of a combination of doing a prayer treatment and a vision board, right? And now we're in the flow, so that should flow just beautifully on Saturday, okay? And it'll be in the chapel over there, the smaller room. It's $15 paid at the door, and that will take care of your supplies. She'll have the poster board for you to put it on, the glue and the magazines to cut out everything. All you have to do is walk in. There is a sign-up sheet in the foyer. Our prayer circles continue. We have a prayer circle in person at 12:15 in my office so far. And we have, and that's in person, and then we have one on Zoom on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock that Nisa Burrows facilitates. We have our regular coffee and donuts after service, and I think right now that's it for our invitations. So anything I left out? Anybody know if something I left out? Okay, so let's stand, and I don't know about a circle, but just have fun and more
Take a
room
look
to
at the
dance.
person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. From every walk of life. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. Every creed and color. In kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. We come together.
scared I won't live long enough. That's why I wear my rubbers when it rains and eat an apple every day, then see the doctor anyway. What if I can't live to love you as long as I want to?